what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds, and on this video, I'm going to be answering your property investment questions. Now, these questions that you asked me last week are so detailed, so personal, so good that this is going to be a very interesting video. So if you enjoy my YouTube channel, please let me know by smashing the like button. If you're watching this video and there's not a blue thumb, there's a problem. I don't want to see a white thumb. I want to see a blue thumb. So destroy the like button. Also subscribe. I'm going to go through these questions from last week. They're very interesting questions. Also, while I'm giving answers to these questions, if you have a property question that pops into your brain, comment it below, because next week, guess what's going to happen? That's right, I'm going to be answering your property investment questions. So start commenting anything you have. You know what? The only reason you're not succeeding the way you want to be succeeding is because you need to know an answer to something, to some kind of a problem. So what's holding you back? Let me know, and next week I'll help you get over that problem. But right now, what have we got from last week? So RoofVis1 says, how can you offer an investor security over the money he will put into a deal? I find that people might put equity out of their property, but they want to know for sure that their investment is safe. What are my options? So RoofVis, the way you do it is you're going to get a solicitor to put a charge on the property. So if someone's giving you £50,000, and they're giving it to you to put into a property investment, you can agree that the property investment will have a first charge or a second charge if there's already a charge on the property, meaning you can't just go and sell the property without having to pay them their money back, plus whatever you agreed in the contract. This is very common. Property solicitors know how to draw these up, and it means that the person who's been investing the money with you into your deal, their money is safe. So hope that helps. Next, what do we have? Abdul Aslam. He says, great video. What would you recommend as a second property investment? Because I already owned a 2-bed residential buy-to-let property, which has given me 10% yield. Would you recommend buying another, commercial, HMO, etc.? So Abdul, my advice would be, firstly, congratulations that you've already got one buy-to-let. I would recommend buying another, of course, because that's what this channel is all about, how to grow and build your property portfolio like real life Monopoly. My advice to you would be to make sure that your second deal is always bigger and better than your first deal. So if you've got a house at the moment, a little 2-bed residential buy-to-let, great. Maybe for your next property, maybe go on to a HMO, or maybe just go on to a slightly bigger property that's going to be lending itself to some development. In terms of would I recommend commercial or HMO, what exactly, that depends on your knowledge and your comfort zone level of risk, and don't do something that's too big that it could go wrong, but do something that's just a little bit stretching, and then each time you're getting bigger and bigger and more profitable each time you go. Hope that helps. By the way, if you've got questions, comment them below. I really am going to answer your questions next week. Next, Mate Cardos. I want to start investing when I turn 20. I'm 16 at the moment. Where are the best areas to do lease option agreements? Best areas to do lease option agreements tend to be places where there's negative equity. That means people have bought houses, the house price has dropped, and they've got an outstanding debt on that property, a mortgage on that property, which is bigger than the value of the house. And those types of houses, they can't sell them very easily because their debts are too big. They're the types of houses you want for lease option agreements, and there are particular areas that work well because there's areas where the properties have gone down so low, people are in negative equity. Areas like, I tell you, one of the most negative equity ridden places in the country, it slipped my mind. But places like Liverpool, Bradford, Burnley, Grimsby, these are all places where property prices have gone down and there's a lot of negative equity there. Hope that helps. And if I remember the name of that place, I will put it in next week's video. Thank you for your question. What else do we have? We have Delashan Anthony Paul, who says, hi Samuel, is in the strategy BRRR, what does the term refinance mean? I've watched plenty of your videos and I've always struggled to understand the idea of refinancing and getting a new mortgage on a property you already own. Please can you explain your knowledge on this and help me understand it clearly? Thank you. Of course. So sometimes people struggle to understand the definition of refinance because in their minds, they're thinking just about themselves as the buyer, as the investor. So if you're thinking about it from your point of view, you might think, well, when I want to buy a house, I need a mortgage to buy that house. So the purpose of a mortgage is to help me buy a house. That is actually incorrect. The purpose of a mortgage from the lender's perspective is because they want to give you money. They're not helping you out. They want to give you money because they want to charge you interest. So if you want to buy a house and you need a mortgage, they'll give you a mortgage. But if you already own a house that doesn't have a mortgage, because you own it cash, let's say, you can then still go to a lender and get a mortgage and put it on an existing house that you own. That would be a refinance. So if you've got no mortgage and you want to put a loan on that property and you're going to put the property as collateral, there's going to be a charge on the property from the lender. That's a new mortgage on a house. Or if you buy a house and then it goes up in value, and the mortgage that you've currently got on it is a bit rubbish, it's a bit small, and you want to borrow some more money, you could go back to that same lender or a different lender, and then you could refinance by getting a new mortgage with a higher loan and a smaller interest, hopefully, as well. And then with that money, pay off the existing mortgage, and then you keep the difference, not as profit, because it's not profit, it's actually debt, but you can do what you want with that money, and you can reinvest into more properties. I hope that helps clear things up. If it does, let me know in the comments. And again, if you're enjoying the video, you find these helpful, destroy that like button. I hope the thumb is blue. Okay, next. Captain Vale. Captain Vale says, great content as always, Samuel. Thank you. I'm making a living off of your teaching. That's good to know. Congratulations. A question, how do you get in direct contact with owners of large 100 plus unit developments? And what do you think about sourcing for multi-million pound building transactions? Is it just a fallacy, or do people genuinely make money from it? Captain Vale, of course it's doable. And the reason you're thinking like this now is because you're already making a living off of my teaching, and naturally you're wanting to scale bigger, which is only natural and only right. So it's very doable. The best way to get in with those types of developers will be through networking. When you start small and you're just ringing people cold from Gumtree and Spare Room and Open Rent and ringing agents, that's fine, because you're ringing people with small little deals and houses, and it's a very like this kind of market. When you're trying to get into the creme of the creme, 100 million pound type developments, best way is to join networking associations. You need to get in with the right people, because ultimately deals come from relationships. Maybe consider joining something like Business Networking International. I've been a member of there for years. I'm not anymore, but I was when I was starting out trying to build my profile and build my network up. Talk to people that are in the know. Network, get around other people. That would probably be my best advice. However, great job. Keep up the good work. All right, next, Jack Sibbo. Hey Samuel, when doing rent-to-rents, do you need to do it as a limited company, as it is under a management agreement, as you class as a property manager management company? Jack Sibbo, no, you don't need to do it as a limited company. You could do a rent-to-rent in your own individual name, as far as I'm aware. However, it would be kind of strange, and it would be much better to do it through a company. It costs £15 to set up a limited company. You can do it yourself on company's house. It is very easy to do, and having a company is going to protect you, because from a liability perspective, it's also going to be more tax efficient, because you can pay yourself a salary, not pay tax up to the first £11,000, and then there's dividends, and dividends are a good way to pay yourself because they're tax efficient. Disclaimer, I'm not a tax specialist, I can't give tax advice, but there are many advantages to setting up a limited company. So my advice would be to just set up a company and do it that way, but you don't have to, as far as I'm aware. Hope that helps. All right, next we've got Jonathan Hearn. We're flying through these questions. I'm loving these questions. He says, hi Samuel, hope you're well. I've set up a rent-to-service accommodation business in Manchester. Well done, congratulations. And currently got one apartment running. Apart from going direct to vendor, which is how I got my first apartment, how would you approach an agent to obtain an SA deal? I've spoken to many agents around Manchester about corporate lets, but no one has been interested. I look forward to hearing back from you. Cheers, John. Okay, Jonathan, you've got one and you went direct to vendor to get that one. My advice would be to do the same thing again. If it works, why not do it again? If you've had a better joy going direct to vendor and now you're struggling with agents, then go to vendor again. Do exactly what you did the first time. Ask the current landlords, have you got any others that are similar? Do you know anyone? And when you're speaking to agents, if you do want to get deals from agents, I think the best thing is there's a whole skill around talking to agents, which I might save for another video. But the key is to be open, transparent, confident, and assumptive. And I'll probably do a whole video about how to talk to agents another time. Hope that helps. Keep up the good work. Glad to see you've got an SA in Manchester up and running. Also, let me know how much money you're making on that deal, because that's really cool. Okay, next, Ibby Bob. How would I actually text an investor to convince them to let me source a deal for them? I probably wouldn't text them. I'd probably speak to them over the phone or in person. And I wouldn't try and convince them either. I would attract them. So instead of trying to convince anyone to do anything, you don't want to do that. In business, it's all about creating so much value and being so good that they can't ignore you and don't want to ignore you because they want what you've got. So if you want to attract investors, get good deals. That would be a good start. And also tell the world that you've got good deals. Like speak it out and attract people in. You know, document what you're doing. Marketing. See, there's marketing and then there's sales. Marketing is when you raise awareness, and then sales is when you close the deal. You've got to do both, but you've got to do marketing before you do sales, i.e. attract people in. Hope that helps. If it does, smash the like, Mr. Ibby Bob. And if you also found that valuable and you're watching this, smash the like, drop a comment. Let me know your questions. All right, D&N Flooring Limited, A to Z renovation property. Great, says, hi Samuel, I want to start like a property investor. I have cash and to use the strategy BRRR, that's buy, refurbish, refinance, rent. But I wanted to buy my first house and to refurbish as I'm a construction builder, and after to buy more and make a portfolio. Can you be my mentor? Sure, I can mentor you on YouTube and give you tips and strategies on my free YouTube channel, or you can join Samuel365, samuel365.com, and you can get more one-on-one mentoring from me, my team, and coaching and different things. But it sounds to me like you're on the right lines. And if you're wanting to buy a house and you've got a construction company, you can probably do it up well yourself. I mean, it's the perfect strategy for you. So let me know specifically if you've got any questions that I can help you with, or jump on Samuel365.com and let us coach you and jump on the phone with you and put together some structures for you. And you can join Samuel365 from £1, 7 days for £1. So there's my cheeky plug. Description, you can get the details. All right, next. Dzej Skyvoka. Samuel, please look on my comment. And that's what I have received from one estate agent and never heard about this before. It's a tin-side lease. And so, okay, I'm really struggling with this question. I'm really sorry. It's probably my reading abilities. It's a tin-side lease. So as good as freehold, you don't pay nay ground rent. And you would be a freeholder of the other flat if you know how tin-side lease works. So 99-year lease, but ground rent, etc. is peppercorn, meaning you don't pay anything. Can you give me more details? Is it worth going for a leasehold property in this case? Okay, I think I got your question. I'm really sorry for my bad reading. I think what you're saying is there's 999 years on the lease. There's no ground rent. It's all peppercorn. So should you go ahead for a leasehold or should you only do freehold? Listen, I'm not against leasehold. If you're going to buy a leasehold property, then you need to make sure that there is a long leasehold, which there is, almost 1,000 years, and that the service charge and ground rent aren't high, which they're not. So leasehold's fine. The only thing to be aware of is that they can change the service charge, but if it's nothing at the moment, I mean, you haven't got too much to worry about. The only big problem is when you've got a short lease, and you think, oh, that's a bargain, and you buy it, but you don't actually own the ground. And then in 50 years, or even less, in 20 years, suddenly it runs out, and then you're at ransom, and you end up having to pay or lose your property. That's a problem. But in this case, if the figures stack up and you're making money, it's fine. All right, Zaid AB1, what do you think of getting into real estate investing through becoming an agent first? I think it's good. That's what I did. However, I don't think it's necessary. Becoming an estate agent just to get into property is not necessary at all. I became an estate agent. Actually, I'd been in property for 3 years before I did it. I just did it because I wanted to boost my deals and network, and I wanted to get inside information of what it's like talking to agents, but it's a very long way about it. So no, you don't need to do it, but you can. Alan Murad. Hi Samuel, thank you for answering my previous question. You are so welcome. It massively helped. Good. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. When it came to running the books, when starting in property, did you have a bookkeeper to do everything for you, or did you run the books yourself? Alan, when I started out, I did everything myself, and it was terrible. I did the sales, the marketing, the books, the viewings, the cleaning, everything. However, what happens is when you start to make a bit of money and you can afford to employ somebody or get an assistant, you do. And then as you grow, like now I've got lots of bookkeepers. I've got full-time accountants and bookkeepers and tax advisors that work for me full-time. But when I started out, I did it all myself. So my advice would be, if you can afford a bookkeeper, get one. It's really helpful, especially if you're terrible at bookkeeping. But if you can't afford it, then you're just gonna have to crack on and try and figure everything out yourself, like I had to do. But it's definitely helpful to get people doing stuff for you. And even if you get a freelance bookkeeper that you pay just to do 1 day a week, it's going to help. Because what you don't want to be doing is spending all your time doing the bookkeeping and the this and the that and the design, and then you're not making any money. You, the entrepreneur, want to spend most of your time making money and being an entrepreneur, not working in the business, more working on the business. Hope that helps. If it does, smash the like button. What we got next? Hadra9911. Is it the right time to start rent to HMOs for a beginner like me, or should I wait? Yes, it is, as long as you know what you're doing. Rent to HMOs is great. Thoroughly would recommend doing it if you do it the right way right now in July 2020. BK News. Hi Samuel, how much do you think a lawyer would charge you for writing an agreement for a rent to rent? A lawyer's not going to charge less than £500 to write up any contract, generally speaking. It could be £1,000. Anywhere in between would be about standard. Do you need to get a lawyer to draw up a rent-to-rent contract? Maybe. Maybe once, and then you can just use that contract and tweak it each time you do a rent-to-rent. A lot of people don't pay a lawyer to draw up a rent-to-rent contract. They just do. I mean, for instance, I could give you a rent-to-rent contract. I mean, we do have a rent-to-rent contract and manual pack, which includes all the contracts, the scripts, everything you need for rent-to-rents, plus a training manual on how to get rent-to-rent deals, how to speak to it, everything, and that's 500 quid. So, and some people say that's expensive, but everything's relative, you know? So that would save you paying solicitors. I'd probably recommend it. And it's on my website. I'll put a link in the description. I'll put a link for the rent-to-rent manual and contract pack. I would definitely only pay a solicitor if you're putting a lot of money into the rent-to-rent. If you're putting a lot of money into the rent-to-rent and you're thinking, look, I've got my necks on the line here and I can't afford for it to go wrong, then maybe. But generally speaking, if you're going to do that every time you do a rent-to-rent deal, it's just going to be expensive and unnecessary. All right, next. Shaquille Millington says, hello Samuel, if you do a lease option agreement, do you still have to get a survey done on the house? Yes, you probably should get a survey on the house, because even though it's a lease option agreement and you don't own it, you still have an interest in the house. You're planning to buy it at some point, and not only that, but if anything breaks, you're responsible for it. So I would get a survey on the property. We're flying through these. If you're enjoying it, smash the like button. Don't forget to drop your comments below as well. I want to hear your comments. I want stuff to respond to next week. All right, next, what is your view on Boris and Trump? Will Trump be re-elected? Controversial. Listen, I'm not here to give my political views and perspectives. I predicted that Donald Trump would get in. I was actually in the States when it happened, before it happened. I said he was going to get in, and then he got in. Everyone was saying it wouldn't happen. I predicted Boris Johnson. I predicted Boris Johnson was going to also get in. I actually publicly on YouTube said I would pay £10,000 to your favorite charity if Boris Johnson did not become president, and he did become president. And to be honest, I'm going to predict the same thing again. I seem to be always right. Donald Trump is going to be re-elected. It's going to happen. November 2020. I haven't got a crystal ball, but I just have a strong feeling it's going to happen. So what do I think of Trump? I think he's done a pretty good job, if I'm honest. I think he's done some great things for America. I can't comment on him too much because I don't know Trump. I don't know him personally. And I think some people make brass comments about people without knowing them. And they say they're this or they're that. And you don't know. I can't say what I think about Trump on a personal level. I don't know. But I think he'll be re-elected in 2020 November. So, hope that helps. Let me know what you think. Do you think Trump's going to be re-elected? Most people think he's not, but I think he will be. Let me know. Comment in the comment box. Okay, next, Love Life. Hey, also, regards to your comment about not paying stamp duty, I spoke to my accountant, and my understanding is you avoid the additional surcharge if you have more than one property, rather than avoiding paying stamp duty at all. Can you please confirm if this is very important, everyone is clear? I'm not quite sure if I misunderstood, but actually it's the opposite. If you already own a house and then you're buying more, you pay more stamp duty. Right now there's a stamp duty holiday, so you don't pay stamp duty if you're buying it to live in. If you are buying it to live in, you pay 3%. Sorry, if you're buying it not to live in as an investment, you pay 3% stamp duty of the purchase price. The only way to get around that would be if you were buying it less than £40,000, or if you managed to get multiple dwelling relief, i.e. you're buying a property that was split into multiple houses. That's what I got when I bought the castle. Or if you're buying multiple houses at once, or if you buy a property that's owned at a company, and instead of buying the property, you buy the company, therefore inheriting the property, you pay 0.5% if you do that instead of 3%. So there are things you can do sometimes. I hope that helps. I hope that clears things up. Let me know if it does. Okay, next, and then we'll do one more after this one, and then I'm going to wrap up because I've been answering a lot of questions today. Benji Fox, hi Samuel, I have a few questions. What did you do different to other property investors to become a millionaire? How did you get where you are today through property alone, excluding income streams from selling courses, etc.? And finally, how much of your annual profit do you pay yourself? How did I become a millionaire? Because I persisted, because I believed I'd become a millionaire, because I worked very hard, because I got a lot of training and got the skills and implemented them, because I wasn't a pussy, I didn't talk, I actually walked. The strategy that I used to become a millionaire was like deal sourcing. I became financially free by 21. I slowly started growing my portfolio and it was building and building. And then I got in a bit of a hurry and I thought, I want to speed up, I want to become a millionaire by the time I'm 30. Started deal sourcing and boom, that's what made me a millionaire by 25. Now I've gone on to do a lot more than that. I'm now 29. But I don't tell people it's easy to become a multimillionaire because quite frankly, it's not. It's not that easy. I've had to work really hard. What I say is that anybody can become financially free. I believe that. I believe anyone can become financially free, meaning they can replace their income through property, and that can be done very fast sometimes. Sometimes it's slow, but it's possible for anyone. But not everyone will, but everyone can if they follow the process. We've been programmed and brainwashed to be poor and live in poverty, and what I believe is when you follow the process to become financially free, if they taught financial freedom in school, they taught all the steps and that was the goal, everyone would do it. And that's why part of my mission is to teach finances in schools. That's what I want to do. So hope that helped answer your question. Final question, what we got? Aiden says, hi Samuel, when building a property business with the intention to get substantial passive income and be financially free, would you recommend paying off buy-to-let mortgages as quickly as possible or to invest in more properties when you have enough for another deposit? What do you reckon I'm going to say? I'm going to let the guys comment on that one. No, I would recommend, yes, not paying off the mortgage as quickly as possible, buying more houses, because that way you're going to get more cash flow, you've got more, you've leveraged your money, you're going to get more. One of the great things about properties that you can leverage your money is that you can have mortgages. One of the reasons people in stocks and shares get jealous of us property investors is because they can't do that. So I would say don't pay off the mortgage as quickly as possible, leverage your money, get more cash flow, and build your wealth by buying as many houses as you can, but the right kind of houses. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be doing another one of these next Sunday at 7 p.m. I want to answer your questions, so please do comment any property questions you've got. Comment them below in this video. And again, I don't know how many times I've said this, if you don't see a blue thumb, make it blue. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much.